Hi everybody, I am so delighted to be here. I absolutely love sharing information from some of the most amazing writers on the planet. And sometimes you can really learn a lot when you kind of start putting together what each one's saying. And loving ourselves has got a bad rap, especially in a lot of Judeo-Christian belief systems that we're not supposed to do that because that's conceited and it's not all about us, and actually it is all about us, each and every one of us as an individual. And I'm going to read a little part right now from Ernest Holmes, or actually in The Science of Mind. There's also a quote from the Bible, and it says, "The prodigal said, I will arise and go to my father, and I will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and I am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants." And Ernest's, I can't even think. Ernest's conclusion on this is this. This represents a theological state of mind, which is quite common to all of us. One's self-condemnation and personal distrust. It is a morbid and detrimental to our welfare. A theological state of introspective morbidity, which might be classed as one of our worst mental diseases. Self-condemnation is always destructive and should never be indulged in by anyone. It is always a mistake. There is no question but that all of us have done that, which is damaging to our soul. And then my hero, Louise Hay, I'm going to just do little points from her. And it says here, some points of my philosophy. We are each responsible for our experiences. Every thought we think is creating our future. The point of power is always in the present moment. Everyone suffers from self-hatred and guilt. The bottom line for everyone is, I'm not good enough. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. We create every so-called illness in our body. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns. Releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. We must release the past and forgive everyone. We must be willing to begin to learn to love ourselves. Self-approval and self-acceptance is now the key to positive changes. When we really love ourselves, everything else in our life works out. I truly and absolutely believe that. And I think that it can even be taken to a second level as far as self-love goes. So many times we have been told things like, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too poor, you're too dumb. Sticks and stones will break our bones, but words will break our heart. We take these things to our heart and we believe them as if they were gospel, especially when we're children. We're so easily affected by what other people say to us. But the big thing is, what are we saying to ourselves now? Every day, every minute. What do we say to ourselves when we make what we consider a mistake? What do we say to ourselves when we think we could be better? Louise Hay talks about the very first time she spoke. And she walked off the stage and she just kept saying, you did wonderful. You are an amazing speaker. You are great. And then she said she waited an hour or so, I don't remember the exact time, and then she said, okay, what can we improve next time? But she didn't belittle herself or say that she could be better. Each and every one of us are perfect just the way we are. We know that, we say it all the time. But do we really believe it about ourselves? We believe it about other people. And next time you want to criticize yourself, just think, would you say that to a friend? Would you say that to somebody you really love? Would you think that and use those words for them? Likely not. I have been saddened to see young athletes committing suicide. Breaks my heart. My granddaughter is in Canada and she was 12 when one of her schoolmates committed suicide. And it's not loving ourselves. And we, in our society, kind of encourage that. You know, if you're a singer, you're only as good as your last song. If you're a writer, you're only as good as your last book. No matter what it is you do, society tells you you're only as good as the one you just did. And we really need to try to change that way of thinking because it's killing us. And it's killing our kids. We really need somehow, somewhere, to teach our kids from grade 1 or kindergarten to love themselves. Because the big thing is, we're vibration, we're vibratory. And we affect each and every one of us, no matter where we go. Eckhart Tolle tells a story of a day when he was very angry with his partner. And of course, anger is fear, really, turned inside out. And certainly not love. See, most of us agree that there's just really love and fear in different varieties. And he went into this tiny restaurant that he'd gone in many, many times. And he loved it because it was always happy and cheerful. And everybody's talking. And after he'd been there 10 minutes, everybody was bickering and getting annoyed with each other. The waitress, the owner. And he realized that he had affected that. He had taken his vibration of fear, anger, and negativity to an environment, and it had infected it. So just think, what if he took total love and acceptance of himself and took that into that restaurant? What would people be doing? What would they be thinking, and what would they be saying? So loving ourselves is really, if we don't love ourselves, that's kind of being selfish, the wrong kind, because we're denying people who we really are. Because when we really, truly love ourselves, we vibrate at an amazing vibration. And it was just on the internet a few weeks ago, they did an experiment of people meditating. And if they meditated on love rather than whatever else, they could meditate on peace or whatever. If they meditated on love, it was like, I think they said, 6,000 times bigger. The radiating from us was 6,000 times bigger from this person and anybody else that radiated love. So loving ourselves is the only way we are ever going to have world peace. Because if we are peaceful within our own selves, we're going to radiate that. And it seems to me it's infectious. And when we do have negative thoughts, we do know it comes back to us. I told the story I've told before about going to work one night when I was in nursing school, and this lady came up to me and said I wasn't welcome in the lunchroom and I wasn't welcome to be around them anymore. And I started to cry. And I left and I came back and she said, I didn't think that would upset you. I said, oh really? What did you think it would do? And so we had a chat. And she said, well, I've always wanted to be a nurse. Really? Well, be one. Well, I'm too old. Well, only if you think you are. So I really thought I had a handle on this one. So I phoned my little guru, commonly called my daughter, and I tell her my little story, and she says, okay, what was your role in that? I didn't have a role. It was about her, because she was angry because. No, Mom, you had a role. What was your role? She said, I bet that you were feeling like you couldn't believe you deserved to do what you're doing because it's your dream. And you know what? I was. That was one day when I was thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm getting to be a nurse. I've wanted to be a nurse since I was 9 and now I'm 50 and I'm doing it. And I was just, oh wow, do I really deserve that? Well, she mirrored back to me my feelings. So again, it's infectious. So what if we wander around loving ourselves? Because when we love ourselves, guess what? We're loving everybody else because we're all one. And when we don't love ourselves, we're not loving everybody else because we are one. And I always find it interesting. I have a daughter a stepdaughter that I absolutely love to pieces, and she went through a time when she really kind of had a chip on her shoulder, and she really expected everybody to be nasty, and guess what? They were. And I found that so interesting. She told me that the worst people in the world live in California. And they were always nasty. And so I moved to California, and to be honest, I still haven't found them. I'm sure they're there somewhere, but haven't been in my life. Another interesting one today that I wouldn't have had it, I not listened to Abraham Hicks this morning, but it was very interesting. This young man said, I'm an addict. And it's not good to be an addict. And she said, that's not true. That is not true. Being an addict is good. And of course he's thinking she's really nuts now. But she said, we are designed to be addicted to good feelings because we are designed to be plugged into source. And that is what we're supposed to get addicted to. Isn't that amazing? That was just amazing to me and made a lot of sense. So that's why we have this addictive personality and why we want to feel good. Because we're supposed to feel good. So self-love is not conceit. It's not being narcissistic. Far from it. People who truly love and honor themselves never feel that they are better than anyone. They just believe they're part of the whole, and that the whole is really darn good. So every feeling that we have affects the whole. By that I mean the vibration of our feelings attracts others with the same vibration. And I told you the story about Eckhart Tolle. And it's really true if you think about it. The old saying, birds of a feather flock together. They really do. Because we attract, just like a magnet, the people that are at the same vibratory spot as we are. And so if we're not loving ourselves, we're not sending out the best possible information to other people. Because I truly believe that we will never have true peace until we learn to love that spot in us. And of course, when we're loving that spot in us, we're loving the Creator. We're loving each other. Love is the answer, no matter what the question is. And I really hope to see that happen in our world. And we can make it happen. I believe that we can go out this week and we can shine on. And in doing that, we will encourage others to want to know what drugs we are on. They too can feel like this too. Let's start a pandemic of self-love.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Woo.
Okay.
Awesome. Well,